Here's some information about GitHub and Eclipse and how to integrate the two of them. I've got a new project in Eclipse and I want to get it up to GitHub. You need to make an account on github.com if you don't already have one. And then in Eclipse, you right-click on your project and do Team, Share Project. GitHub is great for version tracking and for allowing your code to be shared amongst team members. But before we get it up on GitHub, we need to make what's called a local repository. A repository is a place that stores information about your files and your project structure. So we need to create a local one. We're going to create one on this hard drive. Right? And we could take this default location, and that would probably be fine. But I like to save things on OneDrive just to be safe. So I'm going to keep the GitHub repository folders, but I'm going to choose my OneDrive folder and then add the GitHub repository folders after that. And I'm going to do another backslash and add my project name just to further kind of bury that project. Click Finish and Finish. All right, what that did is it moved my project from my Eclipse workspace folder into this Git repository folder. And probably an extra layer of folder there, but now here's my SRC folder with my main.java in it. So now that I have this local repository, I am ready to get it up on GitHub. I need to make a remote repository. I need to make a repository on GitHub. So you can get to repositories when you log in to GitHub from here or from here. And I'm going to do new. I'm going to name this the same name as my project. And I'm going to create the remote repository. So this remote repository has now been created, but it's empty. I'm going to copy the address up here. You can also copy this one. That would work. I'm going to come back into Eclipse, and I'm going to commit these files. Right? Committing them means writing them to the local repository. So I'm going to go to Team, Commit. There's other ways of doing this. You saw there's a keyboard shortcut, and you can also go to View, Get Staging, and bring this up. But this is telling me that I have unstaged changes. Unstaged means that they aren't ready to be committed yet. We need to stage them so they're ready to be committed. This double plus sign here is how we can stage them. Right? Stage means they're ready to be committed. You see these icons change. And every time you commit, you need to write a commit message. It should be something descriptive about what you've most recently done. This is my initial commit, so that's fine. Now I'm going to click this button to commit and push. All right, so commit is writing it to the local repository. Push means sending it to a remote repository. All right, so this is asking me what remote repository I want to go to. Because I had copied that address from my web browser, it popped in here automatically. If it didn't pop in there automatically for you, you can just go back to github.com and copy that address again. To push it, you do need to put your username and password for GitHub. And you could choose to store this in the secure store on your own computer, and then you won't have to put in your username and your password every time. But just to show you what it looks like if you don't click that, I'm going to leave it unchecked and click on Next. You don't have to worry too much about this for now. And we'll say Next and Finish. And it's going to ask for the username and password one more time. And I'll say OK. And down here at the bottom it says pushing to github.com and pushed. All right, that's what happens when it works properly. Then you can come back onto github.com, refresh the page, and you'll see your project folder, including the SRC folder and the main Java file. Okay, the next thing I want to simulate for you is one of the benefits of GitHub is the ability to work on multiple different computers. So now that this project is up on GitHub, I can go to any other computer that has Eclipse and I can access this project. So to simulate that, I'm going to go to my hard drive here, and I'm going to delete that project. All right, this Git demo project, I'm going to, actually I'll just delete it from Eclipse as I close it. That'll probably be the cleanest thing to do. I'm going to click on delete, and I will check the box to delete the project contents on disk. All right, so that's gone. I'll close this up, and you can see back in my repository folder, my Git demo is empty, right? And I could delete that whole folder if I wanted to, but you can see it's gone. So this simulates being on another computer. All right, the way you get a project back into Eclipse on GitHub is even easier. All right, you're gonna go to File, Import, and if it's already on your hard drive, you usually do existing projects into Workspace, but we're gonna do Git projects from Git. I'm gonna say Next. And you need the URL from GitHub. We're going to clone that URL. Technically, it's a URI. So cloning it means we're going to make a local repository on the hard drive based on the remote repository on GitHub. Once again, since I had recently copied this address, it did pop in here automatically. But if it hadn't popped in there, I could just go here, make sure you're at the base level of the repository, copy that, and paste it into Eclipse. When you are importing from Git, you do not need the username and password if it's a public repository. By default, the project was public. As a student, you can actually register with GitHub, and you can get a free private repository as well, but I'll just leave this one public, and we'll say Next. Next, it's asking me where I want to configure the local storage for this project. And again, I like to save things on OneDrive, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to go into GitHub, and I'll put it in this folder, but even if this folder didn't exist, that would be okay. I'm going to save it. And so it's Git repository, and this kind of might be an extra one, but that's okay. Say Next. Cloning, which means it's basically downloading it. And it is an existing Eclipse project, so I had saved all the Eclipse information in there as well. So I'm going to say Next and Finish. And now I have the SRC and the main, and I've got everything here. Oh, I got like another layer of project folder, but that's okay. Got the SRC, and we're good to go. All right, so now if I'm on my second computer where I got it from the website, I can make changes. And if I want to reflect this change on github.com, first I'm going to do save all. Always a good habit to get into anytime you're working with code. And I want to commit and push again. So I can right click, team, commit, brings up the Git staging window. I've got a stage change, and I'm just going to write added comment, commit and push. Log in, it's pushing, it's pushed. I can come in here, look at my SRC, and you see my comments here. You could also change things right here in the browser. That's usually not a good idea, but I'm going to do it now just to simulate if this project that I have open in Eclipse is on one computer, but then I work on this project on a different computer and I make a change to it. Right, so I'm going to make a comment in GitHub. And you don't just save it, you commit it. Right? You're putting it into the repository. All right, so that's simulating for you that I had opened up this project on a different computer and I saved it, and now I'm back on this computer that has an old version. It's already been added as a local repository to this hard drive, but it's not the latest work, right? To get the latest work, I'm going to right-click, do team, and pull. Pull means to fetch and merge, right? Fetch means to get something from a remote repository, and merge means to combine repositories. So I have fetched, right? I got stuff from the remote, and then I merged, right? And that's what pull means. I'm going to close, and you can see my comment from GitHub did appear locally on my hard drive. All right. So now just kind of to review and to make sure that my folder structures are set up properly, I'm going to close this project. I'm not going to delete it though. And I'm going to open up another project that's just on my hard drive. So I'm going to do import existing projects into workspace, browse, and I'm going to choose this get2 project, finish it, and this is a project that just exists on my hard drive right now. So this is kind of a review and kind of a test to make sure that nothing's going to get messed up when we try to save another project. So right-click, team, share. Creating a local repository. We're going to do create. Now that my Git repository folder is created, I can just navigate to it. I don't have to type it in. Git repository. I'm going to select the folder, and this is probably why I'm getting extra folders, but I like to do it to be safe to kind of keep things separated. So I'm going to call it get2.get, and I will finish. All right, I've got the local repository. I can see that this is part of it's in version control is what you would say, but it's all just local right now. So the process of getting it on GitHub again is to create a new repository. Oops. And copy the URL. Come in here. Right-click, team, commit, unstaged, staged, commit message, commit and push. Since I had just copied this address, it's here. It's a different remote repository on GitHub. When you are pushing, you do need the username. And it did not ask me to, oh, there it goes. Let's log in again. Push and pushed. And refresh, and it's there. Absolute worst case scenario. All right, so I just showed you what it looks like when everything's working well. Worst case scenario, and there's lots of things that could go wrong with this, and it gets really frustrating, but you could always create a repository and do everything on the web. There's also programs like Git Bash and Git Desktop where you can do this other ways, but the easiest way, well, it's easy in a sense that nothing can go wrong with it, but it's not as easy getting things in and out of Eclipse, is to just create a repository. If you check this box to initialize with a README, you'll have the ability to see the files in here right away, and you can go to upload files, and you can literally just drag something from here. So I'm going to look at my Git demo. I can literally just drag this SRC folder into my repository, and then you have a lot of all the benefits of GitHub. You just don't have the benefits of the direct integration with Eclipse. So you would have to either create a new project. Oh, and my Firefox just crashed, but it usually works. And then that's it.